Today we'll show you how to install the REESE Dual Cam 2 weight distribution system. This installation applies to part numbers 66091, 66092, and 66093. Before beginning the installation, be sure to familiarize yourself with all the parts included in the instructions. During this installation, we will be using the following tools. For this installation, you'll need your truck and trailer uncoupled on level pavement and in straight ahead position. To ensure that proper weight distribution is achieved when the installation is complete, you will need to measure the distance from the ground to the top of the front fender on the front of the truck. Be sure to record this measurement for later. We will begin the installation by installing the ball mount. The REESE Dual Cam is designed to fit many different truck and trailer setups, and you will need to select a hitch bar that best fits your vehicle and trailer height requirements. Once you've made your selection, insert your hitch bar into the vehicle's hitch receiver, then secure it with a pin and clip. Next, we'll need to determine the height of the trailer's coupler, so we know the proper height to couple the ball mount to the hitch bar. To do this, level the trailer, then measure the distance from the ground to the top of the trailer's coupler. Record this height. Slide the ball mount up or down the hitch bar, aligning the holes on each until the top of the hitch ball matches as close as possible to the required height. The height of the hitch ball will need to be set so that it's greater than the coupler height by approximately 1 inch. Next, insert a bolt with an adjustment washer through the top hole of the ball mount. Insert a bolt in the bottom-most hole of the ball mount. Fill any gaps between the ball mount and shank with the provided shim. Once installed, thread a second adjustment washer over the top bolt and fasten with the provided lock washer and nut. Place the spring bars into the ball mount by twisting the bars horizontally to slip the lower trunnion post into the pockets. We will now set the correct angle for the ball mount by lifting the installed spring bars to make the ball straight up. Next, remove the spring bars and hand tighten the top bolt, securing the ball mount. Once tight, torque the nut to 300 foot-pounds using a torque wrench. Do the same to fasten the bottom bolt. We will now couple the trailer to the tow vehicle. Using your jack, lower the trailer's coupler onto the ball, then close the coupler latch and secure it. Next, you're going to reinstall the spring bars. After the spring bars are in place, we will attach the frame brackets to the trailer. Loosely assemble the inner frame bracket to the outer frame bracket using the upper bracket bolt and lock nut. Then slip this assembly over the trailer frame. Now, slide the lower frame bracket around the inner frame bracket and raise it up against the underside of the trailer frame. While placing the lower bracket, position it in between the outside of the trailer frame and the inside of the outer frame bracket. Add a conical washer and loosely secure the lower bracket. Next, we will secure the outer and lower frame brackets to one another on the inside of the frame. Use the 8.5 inch long carriage bolts, 1/2 inch nuts, and washers. Loosely tighten, allowing the bracket to move for final adjustments. Tighten both the upper and lower bolts until both brackets become flush with both surfaces of the trailer frame. Allow for some sliding to position the cam brackets to the spring bar. Next, slide the cam over the outer frame bracket. Position the cam so that its top sits approximately 4 inches above the top of the hooked end of the spring bar when it is lifted. Fasten the cam in position using the 5/8" bolts and lock washers. Torque the bolts to 100 foot-pounds using a torque wrench. With the trailer coupled to the ball mount, use the trailer's jack to raise the trailer. This allows the load to be removed from the spring bars so that they can be safely moved. Once the spring bars can be easily moved, position the hooked ends on top of the cams. Install the spring bar retainer and secure it with a clip. Do this for both spring bars. Retract the trailer jack until the jack footplate lifts off the ground. Double check that the hooked end of the spring bars are properly resting on the cam brackets. If everything is seated correctly, torque the carriage bolts to 130 foot-pounds and the cam bracket fasteners to 100 foot-pounds. We will now check the installation to make sure the system is properly distributing weight. Remeasure the distance from the ground to the same reference point on the truck's front fender from earlier. The height should be equal to or within ½ inch higher or lower than the original measurement taken earlier. If the fender height is higher than the original measurement, increase the front axle load restoration by raising the cam's one bolt hole so that the spring bar ends sit higher. If the fender height is lower than the original measurement, decrease the front axle load restoration by lowering the cam's one bolt hole so that the spring bar ends sit lower. Once proper adjustments have been made, recheck the fender measurement. This wraps up the installation of the REESE Dual Cam 2 Premium Weight Distribution and Sway Control System. For more information on this and other great products from REESE, visit reeseproducts.com.